All right. So I will talk briefly about building networks and raising awareness on Arctic resilience that we have tried to do in this project. Maybe I can. Yay. I'm getting better at the technology all the time. So as I mentioned, our project is called Arctic Network for Climate Adaptation and Food Security. It is funded by the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Finland. From the funds allocated to the Baltic Sea, Barents and Arctic regions, so-called IBA funds. And we have also been really fortunate to work with the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and they have been giving their good guidance on how to proceed in our work. So the tasks have been to promote international cooperation in climate change adaptation research and also practice. We have been striving to build these partner networks between the Arctic countries and also promote the Arctic food security and innovation, which actually was the basis for our project. I really love this map because it's a different point of view. As we saw in the video, we are really kind of focused in our personal points of view. And all the time when I see this map of the Arctic and the Arctic countries, it reminds me that there are different kinds of points of view. Climate change impacts on the Arctic are felt quite similarly. So there are similar kinds of challenges, but also a common ground for action. So of course, when you have permafrost and you have cold, you always live with the nature. And sometimes I think that in the cities, it's really easy to live in spite of the nature. So it's a different story in these areas. And of course, the changes in the natural system affect directly to other systems that produce food, water, and also energy to the peoples that live in the Arctic areas. And of course, the common question for all Arctic countries is the indigenous peoples' rights and their livelihoods that are threatened by climate change. And also, reindeer herding and fishing, as we heard during the morning session, are also shared issues in the Arctic countries. So we have these challenges that are shared, but we also have shared solutions that we can collaborate on. From the governance and policy side of view, there is a lot of different kind of system for adaptation governance. And as Aulikki mentioned, Finland is currently drafting its third national adaptation plan. But different countries are in different stages of adaptation work in the national level and also in the regional level where the actual work happens. So also the implementation of adaptation is really in different stages. But of course then there's an opportunity to learn from those that are already further ahead. We made this report together with Tyrsky Consulting and another IBA-funded project that concentrated on the Baltic countries. And there you can find information on the governance and policy on adaptation in each of the country listed there. So about building the networks in our project, of course, we did a lot of research on who are actually the players in the Arctic adaptation game. Then we wanted to first try to build this Finnish network of Arctic adaptations researchers and practitioners. And then we wanted to bring them together with these different Arctic countries. So my colleague Ilona and Seija and Rainer, they organized 7 bilateral meetings with 7 Arctic countries and ended up with 172 participants showing their work on climate change adaptation. And it was really interesting to see how For example, in Canada, the topics that were discussed were totally different than those of Russia. And all sorts of common interests were still found. Of course, the purpose for the project was also to have sessions representing Finnish adaptation work in these high-level international meetings that were postponed and delayed right after our project started. But we still managed to participate in 3, in Arctic Frontiers, Arctic Circle, and well, this session is actually a pre-event of Arctic Spirit, and also tomorrow we have a joint session with the 3 Horizon 2020 projects and us. And we have also really closely collaborated with these other Arctic projects, such as the Arctic hubs. And of course, now we are in a situation where we have gathered a lot of leads on collaboration. For example, the Arctic Net is a Canadian initiative that collects tens of thousands of Canadian researchers and practitioners together. And now we're trying to figure out what to do with them. The Arctic Food Innovation Cluster work is something that is going forward and trying to find its permanent placement in the Arctic scene. We have found many new research groups around the Arctic, and there are a lot of proposals that we're looking into together. And of course, there was a lot of national projects going on in Finland. And we have also, it's somehow interesting that you have the room next door and you didn't know that they were actually working in the same issues, but now we know more. And of course, the communication and sharing of the best practices is something that we continue. And that was my story, and that QR code is the same as in the posters, and you can scan it, and then you can be an active member in our Arctic network. Thank you.